I'm the executive director for the E.P.I.C Players, a neurodiverse theater company based in New York City.
And I'm Nicole D'Angelo. I'm an autistic actor, musician, and disability advocate, and I'm proud to be an E.P.I.C player. I also teach a musical theater class for E.P.I.C called Broadway Bound.
Today we're going to talk about how we can create an engaging theater class remotely through Zoom or other online platforms. All of our virtual theater classrooms need to remain accessible and engaging online. With a specific structure and adaptable activities for virtual learning, this is very much possible for your classrooms as well. We find the key to successful online theater classes are helping students feel engaged, heard, and seen in an accessible way. This is so important now more than ever. So let's talk about setting the stage for your students and class expectations. Making ground rules is important in every class, and this includes virtual theater, especially when we are remote learning with so many new and different rules. We encourage teachers to discuss with your new ensemble what you expect from them and what they should expect from the class. This is also a great time to talk about the class guidelines and have your students help create those guidelines, like in this clip. Who can tell me a few of our Zoom room guidelines before we got started? Whitney.
No drama and no swearing.
No swearing, right? Be respectful.
Of course.
Yeah. And no drama. We're going to get to that. Awesome. Danielle?
If you're not talking, stay on mute.
If you're not talking, stay on mute. That is incredibly important. Thank you, Danielle. Harrison?
If someone else is speaking, please give them the attention you would like from them when you're talking.
Yeah.
Give them your full attention.
Yeah, focus on people when they're speaking. That's awesome. Thanks, Harrison.
Consistency is important in trauma-informed teaching, especially in these trying times we are going through. Beginning and ending the class the same way each time helps establish consistency and can help students to more easily transition into class time, which is even more true for students with disabilities. Something we also encourage in the beginning of every class is for our students to throw the drama out of the room. We know that sometimes personal issues or conflicts can challenge the focus of our students. So instead, we ask our students to make a physical recreation of their drama and throw the drama out of the room so we can focus on creating and being professional actors while we're in class. We always let them know that if they really need to revisit their drama, they can always take a break with a mentor or an assistant teacher in a breakout room. This is a fun and interactive way to get your virtual classroom going and redirect the focus. Here's an example.
That's perfect, Samantha. You're absolutely right. So focusing, not being on your phone, not sleeping on camera, not watching TV. We just shut off all our TVs, right? And then throwing the drama out of the classroom. So actually, let's go ahead and do that. Can I see everybody's drama, please? Awesome. Let me see it. Yes. Oh, Nick, I love you rubbing your drama around. Elijah's ready to throw it. And 1, 2, 3, throw it out of the classroom. Awesome, guys. Thank you. So that's your drama. It's out of the classroom. If you need it, that's totally fine. You can just raise your hand or your virtual hand, and a mentor or a teaching artist will take you into a breakout room and we can talk about your drama and revisit it. But for now, we're going to focus on what we're doing and what we're creating today. Thumbs up. Good. Next up in our class structure for online classes are always warm-ups. Like any theater teacher, we warm up with our neurodiverse cast members to create structure, focus, and engage our students through activities. Sometimes the warm-up is the best part of the class. When we are in a remote classroom setting, we tend to choose activities that also provide an opportunity for each student to be spotlighted, feel heard, build relationships with other students, and fine-tune their focus and listening skills, made much more difficult in a virtual setting. First, we start by warming up our bodies. It's so important for our students to get up and move around when they can, especially as they use of their screen time has tripled during virtual learning. Your body warm-up can be a simple shakeout or something more complex like a follow the leader dance, which you can access in our game library after the completion of this PD or by checking out our other PDs. The goal of the physical warm-up is to increase the energy level of your student, which is sometimes limited in virtual learning. This also gives our neurodiverse students an opportunity to interact with one another, even on screen. One of our favorite physical warm-ups is a game called Energy Energy. In this exercise, each student will choose a body part where energy lives, saying, energy, energy in my body part, like an arm, and show us that energy in their arm. The rest of the class will repeat. The teacher uses the spotlight feature to highlight the student who has the floor and then can mute and unmute all to respond. 3 reasons we like this game for the virtual theater classroom are: 1, every student gets a chance to be seen and spotlighted. 2, the call and response allows students to be heard, which when we are constantly on mute in the virtual world can be very difficult to do with structure. And 3, it requires our neurodiverse students who may have difficulties with focus to watch and listen to others in order to mimic the activity. Here's an example of how we played this game recently.
All right, before we start rehearsal, let's go ahead and do one of my favorite activities, energy, energy. You guys remember this one? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do energy, energy in my, and you will say a body part, and then we will wiggle it like crazy, as much as we want, as big as we want. This is to get us focused, to get us centered, so that we are ready and prepared for rehearsal today. All right, so let's begin. Energy, energy in my fingers.
Energy,
Energy, energy, energy, energy, Leah.
Energy in my fingers.
In my
Energy, energy in my elbows.
Energy,
Energy.
Energy, energy in my elbow.
Oh man, great, Jason.
Energy, energy in my elbows. Energy,
Great
energy in my elbows.
Danielle.
Hey,
Awesome.
Elijah, let's go.
This is a great way to break the ice, challenge students to think of a body part creatively, and for each student to be seen and heard. You can also repeat this warm-up every class if you wish to see how students are growing. It's a great exercise also to harness focus before virtual rehearsals, as we'll discuss in another PD.
Next up, we need to warm up our voices. As we all know, our voices are a vital tool. In the virtual world, our students often go unheard as most lessons are pre-recorded or classrooms are consistently muted for structure. However, you can challenge your students to use their voices and be heard in an organized way on a virtual platform. Vocal warm-ups are important to continue virtually for our neurodiverse students and students with disabilities, as they are a tool to help students learning speech and sounds and to increase phonetic awareness and enunciation. Just like warming up the body, you can choose warm-ups of different ranges of complexity on a virtual platform, starting with simple sound and movements and progressing to tongue twisters and scales, which you can access in our vocal library. If you have students who are nonverbal, you can utilize the chat feature or choose activities that focus more on creating sounds than creating words. We are going to show you a great beginner vocal warm-up that is very easily adapted remotely called Sound and Movement Mirror. In this game, students come up with a unique set of sound and movements and perform them for others to mirror. They can be any random movement and sound, like blah. To play this game online, the first player begins by saying the name of the person they want to mirror them, then performs their sound and movement. The person they named then mirrors their sound and movement, names the next person, and then creates their own sound and movement. The next person does the same, and so on and so forth. This game works very well virtually for 3 reasons. 1, again, it requires students to watch, listen, and focus on others. 2, each student gets center stage and is able to learn each other's sound and create a sound unique and accessible to them. And 3, each student is heard, which is important in the virtual classroom. Here's a clip of the game in action.
So we are going to play a game called Sound and Movement Mirror. So how this game works is I will do a sound and a movement together, any sound and movement. Then I will say someone else's name in the Zoom room. If I say your name, you'll repeat my sound and movement back to me. Then you will do a new sound and movement and say a new person's name to pass the sound and movement to. Give me 2 thumbs up if that makes sense. Cool, we'll do a little practice as we get into it. So, Amani.
Nick.
And then you can do a new sound and movement for Nick to repeat, Amani.
Nick.
Aubrey.
Okay,
And then
what's
you
my new
can-
movement?
Oh, okay.
Oh. Is there a sound that goes with that? I don't know.
Nope.
Oh, this hurts. Am I doing it right?
Yeah, you're doing it right. You got it.
All right, great. Wee oo, wee oo, wee oo, Whitney.
Ooh, wee, ooh, wee, ooh, wee,
That was great. Who are you passing it to, Whit? That was great.
ooh. Catherine.
Catherine.
This is also a great exercise to learn people's name in class and encourage focus and engagement. If your virtual theater class is more musically focused, you may want to reference our virtual rehearsal PD, which discusses warm-ups and techniques specific to music rehearsals.
The last thing we warm up, of course, is our minds, which, as you know, are so important to acting and to engage our students with and without disabilities. We also use mind or imagination warm-ups to set up the premise of the day's focus lesson in our virtual theater classroom. This is a great place to introduce the concept of improvisation or miming activities to our students. If you're working with a new classroom, we encourage you to start small by throwing an imaginary ball of energy or an energy shape. If you are working on challenging your students' listening skills a bit more, you can try a more complex game like What Are You Doing? All these games are listed in our game library for virtual learning and readily adaptable for online. Today, we're going to show you a game called Yes, Let's. We often choose this activity because it adapts so well to the virtual classroom and because it combines our newly warmed up voices and body tool, as well as teaches students the first rule of improv. Always say yes. A teacher begins the game by saying, let's pretend we are, and then you pick a prompt. Let's pretend we're on the moon. Let's pretend we're ballerinas. Let's pretend we're brushing our hair. Let's pretend we're cutting our hair or scuba diving. And students will say, yes, let's. Then students have to look into the camera and pretend to move and sound like that prompt. The teacher or teachers can then spotlight students making specific choices and encourage more participation from the class. After a few prompts, students should then be asked to volunteer to come up with their own prompt, which is the best part of the game. We love this game for the same reasons as we've already mentioned above. We see and hear all of our students at least once. We encourage participation and taking center stage in a virtual world, and it enables students to think out of the box and also focus on others. Here's a clip of the game in action.
Let's put on some lip gloss.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Oh,
Ooh, wow, Elijah, nice, nice.
very
Attention
precise.
to detail. Yeah. Oh, Andrew. Oh, wow, nice. Are you eating yours too?
I saw Sean. Sean's making some great.
Oh, Sean, nice. Oh, I've never done that before. I've got to try it.
You look beautiful, Sean.
You do. Stunning.
This is such a fun way to end warm-ups, keep virtual learning engaging, and get your students ready to transition to our class focus of the day.
Which brings us to our class focus. Each of your virtual classes should have a theater topic or focus of the day. In our virtual lesson plan series, accessible topics for virtual learning for students include ensemble connection, movement, emotions, voice, character, story, and improv. When introducing the topic, we find that a participatory learning model is most successful, especially when working with our neurodiverse students and students with disabilities on a virtual learning platform to keep students engaged and active. You can do this by introducing the focus of the day's class and have a discussion about it by asking students questions and giving them the platform to answer in a peer learning style. Have a few questions prepared about the topic to get students thinking about it and gauge how much knowledge they already have. Here's a quick example.
Today we're going to talk about building an ensemble. What does that word mean? What does ensemble mean? Has anybody ever heard that before? Raise your hands if you have. Harrison. What does an ensemble mean to you?
To me, ensemble means a group of people or a group of melodies all kind of harmonizing together, singing, like when you're singing in a chorus.
Cool.
You're an ensemble of singers.
Yeah, that's a great example. When you're singing
or musical instruments.
Yeah, you're an ensemble together. I loved that, and making harmonies together. That's so great. So you're working together, right? An ensemble is a group of people that work together. How do we ensembles on stage? How do they work together? Anybody? Elijah, how do ensembles on stage work together?
That's a great question. For the group of people, if like actors have to work together for their scenes, and filmmakers had to work together from producing, executive producing, directing, writing, and stuff like that. And basically, if it was like a movie, it's a big challenge, and even Broadway is a huge deal.
It's a huge deal. That's so great. Elijah, that was a wonderful explanation. You're absolutely right. So you're working together on stage to create something. So you think when you're building an ensemble, is it important to get to know the people you're working with and build a working relationship? What do you think? Yes or no? Thumbs up for yes, thumbs down for no. Let me see them in the chat. Oh, I see some virtual thumbs. Yeah. So I think I see a unanimous thumbs up. So when we're working together as an ensemble, we need to build community with one another. So we're in the next couple classes going to work together to start building an ensemble with all of us here. So then we can work together to create some amazing things on stage and in the virtual world on screen. Sound good? Awesome. All right, let's get started.
We encourage starting with ensemble building in our virtual theater class before you start devising or creating a virtual show. Trust is important in creating a safe space, and the activities we've adapted to the virtual world are all meant to build a safe space where students feel connected and are able to share their creativity and express themselves on screen.
After you've introduced the topic, you may have time for 1 to 3 activities that help illustrate different aspects of this topic and lead to greater understanding. On a virtual platform, the instructor has even greater ability to control the exercise by utilizing the muting and unmuting feature, chat control, and hand-raising features, which we'll explore a bit later. When choosing these activities, the instructor should make sure they're varied in their level of engagement. You want to avoid having activities back-to-back that require a large number of students to be in the audience, because that pulls a lot of focus and takes a lot of time. This is a large part of keeping everyone engaged and for making sure you are individualizing your approach for our students with disabilities who may have a hard time watching instead of participating for a while, especially online. One of the first group topics we talk about in our lesson planning is ensemble connection. You can work on building an ensemble over 1 to 3 classes as an underlying component to your future classes. Ensemble connection is also very important in virtual learning, where our students are often feeling disengaged and missing seeing their peers and teachers in person. A great activity to start with and easily apply virtually is an activity called name and gesture. You start by creating a list of everyone's name and putting it in the chat for everyone to see. The first person says, "My name is Aubrey." And when they say their name, they also make up a random gesture to do with it. "My name is Aubrey." Then the rest of the class repeats, Her name is Aubrey, and does the same gesture. The teacher can prompt the next person to go based on the list in the chat again. This game is selected specifically for its ability to have each student be seen and heard and use their focus and listening skills. Here's a clip.
Now we're going to play name and gesture. So I'm going to say my name and I'm going to do some gesture that says something about me. So I'm going to say my name is Megan. And I want everybody to echo back to me and do the same gesture. All right? So let's try that. My name is Megan. And you...
Her name is
Megan. Great. And now somebody else can volunteer. Ooh. I saw Andrew.
All right, Andrew, here you go.
This is for my gesture I've been waiting for a very long time. So here we go. My name is Andrew Cater.
Ready, guys? Let's do it. His name is
Andrew Cater.
The final activity should push students to use all the skills they have learned in the class so far. It should also give students a sense of accomplishment in using all their new skills and be accessible to all learners in a virtual setting. If we are continuing to use the example of ensemble connection, an instructor could play the game Group Picture or Family Photo as their final activity. In this activity, the instructor chooses up to 4 volunteers to take the virtual stage, or the whole class if you have a small size, and create a still photo or pantomime from a certain prompt. For example, a teacher could say, "Let's take a picture at the beach." We would give students a few seconds to think, and the class would say, 1, 2, 3, image, and students would pose in their still photo together. You can ask other students who are not in the image to stop their video if you'd really like to clear the stage. You can also spotlight each student as they hold their pose and ask the class for input on what they think the image is. Here's an example of that game in action.
I want to see a picture, family photo of all of us at the beach. Okay, and think about your image. Got it? Everybody got it? I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, image. Let me see your image. Ooh, keep going. I want to spotlight everybody. Oh my goodness. Nick looks like he's swimming. I love it. Oh, Whitney, you are at the beach. Are you reading at the beach or reading a book on the beach? Yeah? I love it. Travis looks like he might have sand in his mouth, or he's drowning, or no, he's swimming. He's swimming. He's a blowfish at the beach. Oh my gosh. Jason is getting some sun. I love it. Cool, let's do one more.
Again, this is a great way to build a connection between students and highlight skills in a virtual classroom that remains fun and engaging while requiring concentration and team building.
So at the end of every class, we always encourage a moment of sharing, if you have time to open that stage. This is an open mic opportunity for students to share something they've been working on or something maybe they made up on the spot. This could be a poem, a speech, a dance, a song, anything. We allow students 1 to 2 minutes of share time and spotlight them so they have the floor. As we've said a few times, the theme is making students feel heard and seen and spotlighted, and nothing like a chance to perform for your class to do that even virtually. You can use platforms like YouTube to find music for students who'd like to sing or dance, or Flipgrid to send out assignments and play at the end of sharing. This is one of our favorite parts of the class and our students' favorite parts. They never fail to surprise us with performances they have all ready to go up their sleeves, no matter what school we visit or what ensemble members we're working with.
On one of these mornings, you're gonna rise up singing. When you spread your wings and take to the sky. But nobody will ever gonna hold you with your daddy and mommy standing by your side.
As class comes to an end, we at EPIC like to have a segment we call Epic Moments. Here we give individual students the floor to share something they saw someone else do that they thought was great, or something that they really enjoyed in class. This is an opportunity for students to come together and talk about their class experiences, raise up another student, or share something they're proud of. We encourage you to decide how you want to end your virtual class as an ensemble, whether they are epic moments, kudos, or any way to highlight the accomplishments of your students under such extraordinary circumstances as we are in now.
So now that we have a structure of a lesson plan for virtual learning, you have access to the game library, you have lesson plans and activities, let's talk about classroom management for our virtual theater classes. We often have about 30 people in our EPIC classes and maybe about 2 to 4 teaching artists and volunteers to support that. So we've been having a lot of experience in the past 6 months making sure our virtual classrooms are organized, structured, controlled, and also fun. So that's probably the number one thing we would recommend to you. Having classroom volunteers, if possible, or teacher's assistants or an extra para or parent around can really help you moderate the room and keep classes on track. If you don't have that, that's okay. You will be fine, but it is always helpful to have an extra hand in the room to deal with technical issues so you can teach. Muting is your friend. You can use mute to help participants be more engaged, as we've seen above, or to manage the focus in the room.
I know as a neurodiverse learner myself that muting really helps me as someone who has sensory difficulties, and it's really the only way that I can hear what's going on in class, so I'm very appreciative of that function.
We will miss the mute feature when we go back in person, I think. I'm sure you will too.
Breakout rooms. Breakout rooms can be enabled in your settings if you're using Zoom and allow large classes to be broken into smaller groups within the meeting. They are great for checking understanding and let us give individual attention to every student. In my musical theater class, I use breakout rooms to have my teaching assistants work with students on researching and completing assignments, and I can move from group to group to check their progress. Breakout rooms are also great for sending teaching assistants to offer one-on-one support to students who may be having technical difficulties, or students with disabilities who may need to have an emotional break or troubleshoot an exercise one-on-one.
Remember when we talked about throwing the drama out of the room? We always tell our students they can revisit that drama if they need to, and they can take a mentor or an advocate or a volunteer and go into that breakout room, talk about whatever they want so the classroom can still continue and then come back when they're ready. So we found breakout rooms very, very helpful for this. Moderating the chat is also a great way to set boundaries for your classroom. You can disable the chat in the chat box for everyone or enable participants to only chat with the host. This is a good tool when you want everyone to focus. You can then re-enable the chat to gather information or answer questions, or have students participate if you can't call on everyone at once or you're trying to get kids to focus. You can use your chat to also write directions. For example, a teacher has just given instructions for the game and then a volunteer writes those same instructions or learning topic in the chat. This is also a great accessible tool for our students who might be hard of hearing or deaf.
Putting it all together. Through the above structure and techniques, we've been able to have some really fun, accessible, and engaging virtual theater classes to ensure that all of our students and players feel connected during this time. We hope you will utilize our virtual activity library and lesson plans to help structure your virtual theater classroom. Using some of the concepts above, you can build a virtual ensemble, devise an original show, and put on a virtual performance for friends and family. Be sure to watch our other PDs to help guide you in this process.
And although your students may have difficulties at first with some of these activities, we can encourage you to keep trying. As you've seen in some of the clips above, we also had to stop and start and redirect some of our students in some of these games. But when they did get it, they were really proud of themselves, really engaged, and were able to walk away from the classroom feeling seen and heard, which is our primary goal for a virtual learning experience with the theater. So, in the spirit of EPIC, we want to end this PD as we end all our classes. We'd like to leave you with some of our EPIC players' most recent EPIC moments from our classes. So please enjoy, stay EPIC, and good luck with the school year. Thank you. So raise your hand if you have an EPIC moment from today or this week or anything. Harrison.
So my epic moment from actually today's shoot was when we did, I believe it was Silent Ball of Energy. Everybody was so, they, kept their speech short, and they just said, like, they passed it to one person, like, I'm going to pass it to Aubrey. They didn't add any extra words. It was very short, very precise, and it just felt very good. Like, we did it really well.
That's so great, Harrison. What a great moment. And I agree. Applause for everyone there.
That moment was inspirational.
That's great. Elijah.
Sorry. My epic moment is, well, I love seeing you guys during this time. My favorite part of it is just like the Simon Says thing, the stop video, the mute, text everything you want. It's fun, and I had a great time. The whole thing, I had a great time. It was incredible.
That's awesome. Thanks, Elijah. I'm so glad you had so much fun and can be here.
My pleasure.
I also see Samantha said in the chat her epic moments were a mix of match in the energy game and Zoom directions that were just like Simon says, but on Zoom. That's awesome. Thanks, Samantha. And then I saw Sean had his hand up, and then Whitney, and then we will end.
Quick moment. You're unmuted. Go ahead.
My epic moment is see everybody. I miss you guys.
Oh, we miss you too, Sean. My epic moment is seeing you. My epic moment was watching you do the excited face. I think that was awesome when we were playing the emotion washer face. I loved it. And Whitney, you are next, my friend.
My epic moment was doing the tongue twisters.
Yeah, you were great at that, Whit. I love it. And then Travis said in the chat that Danielle had some awesome dance moves, and that was one of his epic moments. All right, guys, that's it for today. Stay epic and have a great day.
Stay epic. Bye bye.